density test. And this would work great if you had a perfect scientific laboratory with all the top-notch equipment, but since we are usually operating out of our homes, this will only give us a good idea. So silver has a known density of 10.49 grams per centimeter cubed. We will have to start out by weighing the piece or pieces of silver to find the weight in grams. Next, we will find the piece's volume in centimeters cubed. Pieces or pieces apostrophe at the end because it might be using multiple pieces. And then finally, we'll calculate the piece's density. Density is equal to mass divided by volume, grams divided by centimeters cubed, and that will give us the density of our pieces. And then we can compare to the density, the known density of silver, to see if it is likely a real piece of silver or pieces of silver. So step one is to weigh it. Grabbing my scale here. The more accurate of a scale you have, the better this test will go. I'm using a gemstone scale. This is quite reliable, quite a good scale. Turn it on. I'm weighing 10 pieces of silver. And I'm going to do this again off camera on a more stable surface. This is just for demonstration. And then I'll use the off camera weighing. But this is just to demonstrate. That looks like it's too much weight for that scale, so I'll use a different scale here. Okay, it's unstable surface. There we go. So my 10 silver coins weigh 234 grams. I weighed it again off camera on a more stable surface, and again I got 234 grams. And now we need to figure out the volume. So you measure the volume going by the lowest point, the meniscus, the lowest point of the water level, as it touches the measure right there. So although it looks like it's over 250 on camera, I'm looking at it from the meniscus and is right at 250, maybe 255, but a pretty good idea. I think I'm gonna go with 255 because it is just a bit over the line. Again, you measure it at the lowest point, get to eye level, and measure at the lowest point of the water line. The point that dips down, measured at the lowest point. Wait till the water stops moving, and then add your silver or suspected silver. You don't want any water to come out. That shouldn't have happened. I think it's only a few milliliters though. Okay, going back to the meniscus, and we are right at about 285, I want to say. We are now at 285 milliliters. Okay, after putting it down and getting a better look and looking back in the video and seeing what the water line was actually at, I determined it wasn't 35. It was actually closer to about 23 milliliters. So 23, and 1 milliliter of water equals 1 centimeter cubed. Same thing, it's volume, right? So 23 centimeters cubed. And again, we're actually looking at coin silver here, so we'll be using the density of coin silver, which is 80% silver and 20% copper, so 10.18 grams per centimeter cubed. So let's plug everything in now. So we know the mass, 234 grams. And we know the volume of 23 centimeters. We get 10.17 grams per centimeter cubed, extremely close to our 10.18 grams per centimeter cubed. Ideally, you don't want to use a measuring cup like this. You want to buy a graduated cylinder, which has all the markers for every single milliliter. And you can test much smaller quantities with that. You can get it off Amazon or eBay. Make sure you have a good testing thing, because it took me a while to figure out that that was 23. I had to look very, very carefully and try it a few different times. But it will give you a good idea. The larger the piece of silver is, the less room there is for a little bit of extra or under, like say for example, if you pull out a few milliliters of water while you're putting in the coins, there's less of a chance that will impact the final amount. So we determined that, so we compare this density here to the density of coin silver. It is most likely real in this case. So not the best test, depends on how good your equipment is. If your equipment is good, then it could be a very good test. If your equipment isn't great, and so for this test to work, you need to know two things. You need to know the purity of the silver you're testing, because pure silver will be more dense than coin silver. And if you have sort of a silver alloy that's mixed with copper and brass, only 50% silver or 58.5% purity, or sterling silver, then you need to adjust the expected density accordingly. And then when you know, then you need to test the weight and the water displacement or volume accurately, and then the calculation is quite easy. So as long as you're able to do these two parts easily, accurately, then this is a reliable test, and you know the purity accurately. Finally, the last test we'll be looking at is the cash for gold or pawn shop test. The professional test